Hi, babes. It's your girl Tasia, and welcome. Oh, I just literally just forgot about the intro to this. Hi, babes. It's your girl Tasia, and welcome back to my channel. And this is You Listen, I Yeah. Did I just cut off the mic? Okay, so I'm gonna literally clip it here because I don't want to keep holding it. Yeah, I tried to put it on one of my topicals and it literally did not fit, so it's fine. So I don't know what I'm titling this, obvi. But there has been a lot on my mind, a lot on my brain. Also, I know y'all can see the mess that is on the floor behind me. It's currently Sunday. I haven't done my reset routine just yet. But I'm sorry, my room isn't always 100% perfectly clean, just like yours. I apologize. There, it's in the basket where it's supposed to be. Anyways, leaving the jeans on the floor is actually crazy. Okay. Okay. Are we good? Are we cool? All right. It was low key kind of bothering me. Okay. So, as you guys know, I am what one would call a young hoe on TikTok. Also, y'all peep the chair? Yeah. Oh, yeah, y'all. I got new glasses. Y'all see? Let's get into the details. Those are cute. Those are tea. This is what glasses I'm going to be wearing for the next 2 years. So, yeah. Anyways, so lately my brain has been racing, thinking, moving. I don't know. I don't know if it's because in a little bit, excuse me. I don't know if it's because in 9 months I'll be 25 and that brain will be fully developed, but my brain has just been chugging for like the past week. And me being 24, I feel like a lot of content on social media right now surrounding being young in your 20s is being is being turned and free and wild and drinking and partying and doing the thing. But no one's not talking about the fact that your brain is also thinking about some things quite critically. I literally saw a post and it was literally like part of your 20s is rediscovering that basic things are what your body actually needs. The other day I was thinking about it, I was like, do not judge me, okay? You might be in the same boat. But I was literally thinking, I don't know when's the last time I ate a vegetable. Like, and what I mean by that is most of the time on my plate, there's a meat, mostly chicken. 96% of the time it's chicken because I only eat chicken, turkey, and fish. So 96% of the time it's chicken, either fried or baked or grilled or whatever, and a starch. Most of the time it's some kind of potato or some kind of rice. But the green beans, the broccoli, the carrots, the corn, the peas, all that be missing off the plate. Hell, even a salad. Like, can't tell you the last time I ate a salad. It's been some weeks, and it's just like, I'm getting to that age where it's just like, some of my jeans right now are really tight, and I'm like, and it's not because anything to do with my weight fluctuating because of my body. It has everything to do with I am constantly eating terribly. I'm constantly eating junk food, and my body's like, okay, sister, you're not 16, okay? You are 24. So if you're going to eat like crap, you're going to look like crap. And I'm starting to get a little bit of a tummy, and that's fine. But I didn't sign up for that. I want to attend summer. Okay. So I am going to have to cut back on that. Also, my brain has been literally begging me for physical activity. And I'm just like, do you know who I am? I don't like physical activity. I don't like physical activity because physical activity is uncomfortable. I have two 50-pound weights attached to my chest. So anytime I try to run, walk, jump, stretch, lift, pick up anything, I can feel all the pain. All this, you guys can't see because she's covered, but you've seen before, all this does to my back. For context, I am 5'3". Okay, so everything on me is like compacted. So like literally to have this bigger because I'm outgrown the triple D's. I don't even know what size comes after triple D. But to have that striped through my chest and talk about, oh, my body's craving a run, not a jog, not a brisk walk, a run. A run. My body has literally been craving a run for the past couple of weeks. And I've literally been trying my hardest to fight against it with every fiber in my being. But I think I won't be content until I give my body what she's asking for. Why she's yearning after a run? I don't know. Perhaps you guys can let me know in the comments. Also, went to the flea market earlier with my mom and my sister, and I got this lemonade, and it's a homemade lemonade, like actually squeeze the lemons lemonade and strawberry syrup, and it's so good. Yeah, embarrassing that would be if y'all didn't hear anything at all. I would just cut it out. Another thing my brain has been yearning for is for me to get off that damn phone. I was doing so good with my restrictive little 30 minutes a day, but on the weekends I don't have any type of restrictions because I just sort of feel like my week is just so hard hitting that like on the weekend I should be able to cut myself to some slack. Not to mention I have to work every other weekend, so I really only get 2 weekends out the month to myself if I'm lucky, because for the past month and a half I've been working every weekend. So it's like literally this is the first weekend. I'm filming this on a Sunday. This is the first weekend in a month and a half that I've had to myself. So yeah, I've been on TikTok, on Instagram heavily, and I've been feeling like crap. And it's not even because the people on there make you feel like crap, just the constant scrolling, the constant feed of like, oh, that's so sweet, that's so touching, oh, that's so funny, oh, I that's so loving, oh, that's so happy. Just back to back, just ping-ponging between the emotions. It's just not good for the psyche. And then it's like you hop off TikTok and you run straight to Instagram and you see how everyone's just living their life like just posting how good their life is or how things are turning around for them, and you're just looking around like, okay, when's it gonna be my turn? Like it's just like, I don't know. Like I literally just reposted something I'm gonna post on the screen because I don't want to butcher how she worded it, but basically she was just like, feeling that pull and that push to like let go of like social media, but then not letting go of it. And I'm just like, yeah, like what the heck is up with that? I don't know. At a certain point in time, I could justify still having TikTok and still using social media because it was something I was learning from. But I can't tell you the last time I've learned something from TikTok, like actually, genuinely, and truly. I just be in the business, you know what I'm saying? And my own affairs aren't in order. So it's just like, why am I in everybody else's business? You feel me? So that's also what's kind of been on my mind lately. Another thing that's been on my mind lately is okay. I want to think of how I want to word this because I'd hate to try to come across. Okay, full disclosure, I don't have an answer to this. Let's start there. I have an idea of what I'm going to do and what I'm going to try. I do not have an answer. And I feel like bringing this topic up is very important for anybody to hear, whether they're a teen, whether they're in their 20s, 30s, 40s, so on and so forth. But I think that something that has really been weighing heavy on my heart for the past week is childhood and teenage years and the traits that we inhabit, that we learn, that make us us, and how a lot of the time we use that as an excuse to continue to not be a good person. Not a bad, evil, horrific person per se, but we use a lot of what we've been through as justification to be X, Y, and Z. And something that has just been ringing in my ears at every turn, at every obstacle, is although the things that have happened to me in this life have not been all sunshine rainbows, have actually been quite dark and disturbing and unpleasant and sad for any child, teen, or young adult to have to live through. What I do with that is completely up to me. I don't have to be a victim. I don't have to be a mean person. I don't have to submit to my circumstances. If I wasn't taught how, okay, there's some things I think that so many people feel like they should have been taught. But I would pose the question, how can you have been taught something that your parents didn't even know. A lot of our parents literally have been on survival mode for decades. And I think where we as Gen Z get to sit on our high horse a little bit is that we're the first generation that, although we do have quite a bit going on, we have, as women, full body autonomy. We, as women, are the first generation that can live by ourselves without moving into another man's house or another family member's house. We can go and purchase our own apartment and buy our own groceries and drive our own car and work our own jobs and be well off. We're the first generation that's been able to do that. And I think that where we see things from a perspective of healing and constantly working to better ourselves, our parents and our grandparents, because my mom is like a lot of people my age's great grandparents' age. Yeah. So I have a different perspective and a different way that I grew up than a lot of people. And so, especially from that generation, the baby boomer generation, if anybody was raised by a grandparent, great grandparent, whatever, like we were raised old school. We were raised like how they were raised, if not a little bit better. So the tools of emotional intelligence and the tools of self-regulation, the tools of calming down the nervous system are things that I'm just now seeing is actually important at 24 and actually learning how to do at 24. I think for a long time my life was hard. And I think sometimes there's certain things that's even going on right now, being 24, paying this mortgage, doing everything I'm doing. It's hard. But it's not impossible. It's not like, I don't want to say like it's not that bad, but like in the grand scheme of things, like it's not that bad. You know what I'm saying? Like, not to sound tone deaf, but a lot of what we go through is not that bad. I think a lot of the time we put ourselves in situations to perpetuate that life is just so horrible and so mean to us and so awful to us. And sometimes it is the situations that we put ourselves in. And this is something that has been weighing heavily on me. You know, when I was growing up, I'm the oldest of 4 younger siblings. And it was my responsibility to make sure my siblings were like kind of like a secondary parent, that we all got up for school, that we were all at the bus stop, that everybody's homework was done or whatever. And I used to help cook, I used to help clean, all things that I'm glad I know how to do at 24, because when I got to college and I learned there were some people who at the ripe age of 18, 19 and 20 didn't know how to cook or clean. It was quite concerning to me. But I in a lot of ways felt like I was always told like, you're old soul, you're old for your age, you're so mature for your age, whoop de whoop. And I've always felt like I had to live up to those words. There we go. And I always felt like when I should have been a kid, there was no time for child play. When I should have been a teen, there was no time for teenage antics. And when I finally reached my 20s, I was going through something so dark, so disturbing, so traumatizing. I couldn't even barely remember 20, 21, and 22. And being 23, sometimes I grieve that younger part of myself so much, because even to this day, like when people meet me and the way I carry myself in all these different situations, like when everything started going down at the house and I had to take over the mortgage, to me it was just like no questions asked, this is what I'm gonna do, boom. And it was no time to feel the weight that carried, no time to feel how much that would change my life, what I had planned, what I wanted to do. And in February, it was so much going on, so much going on. And it didn't help that I guess then was the time, since it was already an emotional month, for the feelings of just anger, irritation, some resentment. It just felt like I don't get to have nothing. You know what I'm saying? It just felt like I don't get to be a kid. I don't get to be a teen. I don't get to be 20s. What's the point of being here? If I don't get to have an experience that everybody else gets to have, what's the point? That's literally how I felt. And through going through that season and just feeling it, because I had to feel it, there was nothing I could do. I couldn't run away from it. I couldn't pretend it wasn't happening. It was an internal battle, an internal struggle. Then going to work, and work is horrible. I hate that job, but I'm grateful for it. Keeps the roof over our head. And dealing with the things that I was dealing with there wasn't making it no better. And I just started to become just angry, just so angry. And I just didn't know what to do with my anger, where to put it. You know, when you're sad, there's all these resources to like not be sad no more. Or like all these things people say to like help you not be sad no more. But when you're angry, I'm not talking about slightly annoyed or overwhelmed or irritated. I'm talking about angry. I'm talking about heart pounding in your chest, in your ears. You can hear your face is getting hot. All you're thinking of is all the things you're not supposed to do to people, and all things you're not supposed to say to people is coming up to your brain. And you're trying to tell people to please leave you alone because you are not in the state to handle anything else, and they keep going, and you reach a rage that just can't be stopped. A rage that is like, you say one more thing, I'm gonna knock you upside your. That is something people don't know what to do with. That was something I didn't know what to do with. And through living that, I learned that I'm not as emotionally mature as I thought. And that was a hard pill to swallow. And another thing I learned is, just because people have been saying to me my entire life, "Oh, you're so mature for your age. Oh, you're so this. Oh, you're so that," doesn't necessarily mean that that is the case. Doesn't necessarily mean that that is true. Um, I briefly mentioned to you guys in a video that I haven't been in a single relationship where some type of abuse was involved. In every relationship I've been in, I've been abused in some kind of way, physically, mentally, sexually, verbally, whatever. It's not for y'all to pity me, but in a lot of those relationships, there were age gaps. And one of the main things that were said to me was, "Oh, you don't act like insert age here. You're so mature for your age. You don't I don't even know. I was 16 with a 21-year-old boyfriend." Like, actually, like, she's a victim. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I have been for a lot of my life. Um and what I learned is that something that I do, that I think a lot of people do but don't know how to contextualize, is when you are told something, or told that you are something, or believe that you are something, you do everything in your power, whether it's consciously, whether it's subconsciously, to prove that to be true. If you feel like everything bad always happens to you, you really do seek out bad things. You really do make bad decisions, so that when the bad thing that you know is going to happen to you happens, you can be like, "See, look what I'm saying." In every relationship I've been in, if I'm being 100% honest with myself, which I've had no choice but to be, and I honestly think that's another reason why I've been on TikTok a lot. I've been trying to escape, and it has been working. And that's fine. At a certain point, we all have to grow up, right? If I'm being 100% honest, in every relationship I've been in, I've known that I'm not supposed to be in that relationship, but I've been in it anyways. A lot of it goes back to growing up, going to PWIs, and being othered, made to feel ugly and undesirable. So when I got to an HBCU and had my glow up, and I finally had the right clothes and the right look, and my hair was long enough, and my body was, accentuated enough, and men started paying attention to me, I liked it. I liked the attention. I that's all I ever wanted, and I got it. And Wasn't all good attention, but it was attention nonetheless. And any situationship, talking stage, relationship I've been in that has went left, if I'm being 100% honest with myself, I was fully self-aware that it was not going to end well for me. Now, did I know I was going to be getting abused? No. But I was aware that there were certain things and certain traits and certain things going on that shouldn't have been, that were making my intuition not feel right. If I'm around you, why do I feel like I can't eat, can't use the bathroom, can't comfortably be me? Why do I have to feel like I have to withhold things about myself or over sexualize myself when I'm not even a sexual person? Can we start there? And then when the abuses would occur, I would just sort of feel like mm, it kind of okay, it kind of like it kind of helped the narrative that I'm the victim. There we go. It kind of helped the narrative that this big, scary world is, in fact, against me. When in all actuality, I'm not saying that everything bad that has happened to me has been my fault, but some things have been. Um, some choices I have made were not the best. Some choices I make now are not the best. And I think where I'm at now in my life is I don't want to make bad decisions on purpose for the plot or to prove that everything and everybody is against me. I want to live a life full of light and love and joy. And I was thinking about it today and I was like, why does it seem like last year around this time I had so much to do, so much to see, so much to explore? It really felt like I was getting that early 20s experience. And this year, I just feel like it's been nonstop suffering, self reflection, growth. You mean the very things you asked God to help you with this year? But hey, like, let me take a swig of my drink because I'm clocking my OT. And I had to realize it was for many different reasons. One, I've told my sister this 1,001 times. Your brain sole responsibility is to keep you alive. Make sure that it does the very best to keep you alive and happy at all times. When you find yourself in lonely moments, your brain decides, I know how we can fix this. Let me remind you of all the times around this time last year that you didn't feel lonely and that you didn't have nothing to do or nowhere to go or nowhere to hang out with. And then you have to remind yourself the complete story because otherwise you will find yourself sliding right back to the person that you left in 2025 or whatever year. And so again, putting my own self on blast and putting all my business out there. What are you gonna do? It's my channel. Do what I want. Say what I want. Like, comment, subscribe. Last year, 2025, the good old year of 2025, I was in not one but two situationships. And most of my goings out consisted of hanging out with those two guys separately, of course. Those two guys being in my space and in my face. Those two guys making me feel inadequate because of my vaginismus and I cannot do what they wanted me to do. And me having to make up for it by doing other things that I really, truly, honestly do not like to do, but have been taught over time that that's what my worth has equated to, and that's not true if you're picking up what I'm putting down. um Also, I was moved out. I was not happy. I was paying $200 rent every week and having like 100 something left for myself. So no. And then I had housemates that were, one was sleeping with anything black in the city, and the other was a schizophrenic lady that was just always shouting and causing a whole lot of. And it's just like, no, I was confined to my singular room. And the only time when I did get a chance to escape that was when I was in one of those two men's faces. Now, let me know right now, which one is better? What I just told y'all, or being in my pretty pink palace, thank ya, recording my cutesy little YouTube videos, thank ya, spending time with my family, getting closer to them, doing things for my family that and ultimately in the end will be of better service to me, not just mentally but also spiritually, getting my relationship with God on track, being celibate for almost a year, working a job that although I can't stand, I have more money than I've ever made at a job. What else? Yeah, which would you say is better? Right, right. And so I found myself thinking on last year, the past, and everything like that. And then I also found myself thinking deeper about, well, what good did it do me to be in a situationship with two men who are no longer in my life a year later? What good ultimately did either one of them do me? None. Right, right. And can we also talk about how whenever you grow up and you feel undesired in every way except for sexually, you try to prove that that is not all you have to offer. And then you continue to get made to feel like it is. So you try to push yourself into that box. It doesn't work. Thank you, vaginismus. And then you continue to still feel undesirable, despite what everyone tells you, despite how many times people tell you you're pretty, despite how many times you tell yourself you're pretty. Can we talk about how if you don't love your own self, find your own self desirable, love your own space, have your own thoughts, feelings, convictions, have your own hobbies, have your own things that you love to do, know your non negotiable boundaries, know how to say no, know how to not put yourself in terrible predicaments just for the sake of saying you did something bold and reckless? Why would you be in a relationship, comma, how could you think the relationship would be anything good? Right, right. How would you think that you would be anything good for that person? Right, right. So it's just like all that has just been like circulating in my brain. I wanted to write it in my journal so bad, but I could not. I don't think this was one that I could genuinely write out. I think it was one that I had to talk out. I think it's something that a lot of people my age are starting to feel. And one thing I can say about now being 24, I was never mature for my age. I was always able to read a room, and I was always able to make my problems seem as though they did not exist, even when they really did, even when they needed to be tended to. I taught myself at a very young age how to put me on the back burner and put everybody else at the forefront. And it's okay if I have nothing left to give as long as everybody else is okay. And that's not true. And that's not cool. And I thought that since I decided to stop being a people pleaser, and since I decided to put my foot down and to set certain boundaries, that I was healed, completed, and done, and I was finally this mature person. But at 24, 24 years, here I am to tell you, I'm not mature, not as healed as I thought I was, not as grown as I thought I was, and I still don't have the answer. What I do know is I no longer put myself on the back burner. I'm the only thing on the burner. Can we start there? I'm the only thing on the burner. I also learned about myself, and this may also be true about you too. And wow, I'm just putting myself on blast. It's okay. I used bad relationships to hide that I myself was struggling and not the greatest person. Because if I can put my all into loving this wounded bird and nursing him back to health and showing him what real love is, then I can be fixed too in the process. And the whole time, what was happening was these people, these men, were getting all the purest love and gifts and dates and whatever from me, and I was getting nothing, not love, not reassurance, not anything but their problems and mine. So all it was doing was perpetuating a very dark cycle. I've told you guys once before, people pleasing can show up in so many ways. And a lot of people think that people pleasing is just not being able to say no when you want to say no. People pleasing shows up in so many ways. And also, having low self esteem doesn't just mean, oh, I think I'm so ugly. I think I'm the baddest thing walking. But, 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 I don't treat myself that way. And that is the traits of someone who has low self esteem. Because if I really truly loved me as much as I love to shout that I do, I wouldn't treat my body like crap. I wouldn't treat my brain like crap. Wouldn't treat my spirit like crap. I wouldn't allow myself to be around crappy men and date crappy men and have crappy men in my phone. And I don't know if this is some sort of prefrontal lobe developing or God strengthening my discernment or all of the above. But what I do know is I'm very, 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 very grateful for it, because for the longest time, I honestly, genuinely, truly did not know what was wrong with me. And you may feel the same way. You may be like, I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't know why I know the right decision and I pick the wrong one every single time. Another thing, if you don't allow yourself to make mistakes, you're never going to learn and you're never going to grow. But there is a difference between allowing yourself to unknowingly make a mistake and choosing to do the wrong thing and expecting a good outcome from it. I told you I was clocking myself too. I told you I was clocking myself too. And I feel like once I got, especially to the college years, and I had been Little Miss Goody Two Shoes, Little Miss Do Everything Right my whole life, I just wanted to do something wrong for once. I just wanted to do the bad thing, the wrong thing. And I learned why it is called the wrong thing. I didn't have to go through a lot of what I went through. A lot of what I went through was completely avoidable. I'm here to say, and that's not me victim blaming myself. That's me holding myself accountable. There are many situations that I have put my own self in, and the outcomes, not my fault, should have never happened. But I should have never been there. Should have never been there. Let's start there. And so, excuse me. And so I think a lot of what I'm learning now is, who's Fantasia? I know what everybody's been telling me I am for my entire life. Sounds good, sounds great. But Little Miss mature for her age, that's done. That's in the past. There's no such thing. All I was that age. Just because I was more manageable or more likable or quiet or knew how to read a room didn't make me any more or less different than the other 10, 12, 7, 9, 6, 2, 3, 4, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 21, 22, 23, and 24-year-olds in the room. I was still that age. I was still that person. And I feel like that stunted a lot of my growth. Having that mindset of like, oh, I'm so mature. I'm so mature. And it held me back from enjoying a lot of things. Surprisingly, a lot of my 20s has been getting back to the very things that I loved when I was in middle school. Y'all see the Twilight books? No, y'all can't see them. On my shelf, my first set of like physical books that I ever purchased is the Twilight series. Because when I was in middle school, I used to check out the Twilight series multiple times in a school year. And I would read those books, I mean, every single book, in the span of a week. Yeah. Why? Because I genuinely love to read. There was no cameras on me. There was nobody telling me we need to get back to reading because TikTok is rotting our brains. No, when I came home, unlike my peers, I didn't have a phone or we had a computer downstairs, but we didn't really get to use it, or laptops or tablets. I had my books and my radio. I mean, a literal radio, babes. And that was my entertainment. My books, my radio, and my siblings. And when I was in middle school, my siblings were in elementary school. So I was at a stage where I felt all grown up and mature. And I didn't want to play. I didn't want to play hide and go seek and tag. And I didn't want to do that. So I sat in my room. I listened to my music. I wrote in my little diary. I read my books. That's how, sorry, my nose ring be itching sometimes. That's how I entertained myself. And that's also why I got a CD player, because it's just so reminiscent of like when all I had was music and books. Such simple times. And my imagination used to just run wild. Middle school me would love this room. I had an obsession with having a teenage room. What that meant, you know, those rooms in like Disney, Nickelodeon, iCarly's room. I'm looking at you, sister. I wanted a room like that so bad. I wanted a room like that so bad. I wanted a room like that so bad. And yeah, so it's just sad because I think that I was stunted for so long because I kept getting told I'm so mature, and I wasn't. I didn't have the capacity to know I wasn't. I just now learning how to emotionally regulate, just now learning how to be emotionally mature, just now learning how to communicate clearly and effectively. Thank you to my degree. I am just now learning how to be me. That's it. That's all. And mind you, this is something I've preached about for years. You should be yourself. You should like what you like. You should do what you should go for it. 100%. Don't hold back. And then I'm not even right. Because how am I giving advice to people about things I don't even do? How am I even out here helping people get through things and I'm not even through? I'm not even looking at my own self. I'm sitting here trying to be everybody else self improvement project makeover person. And the very person I need to be working on is this one. Mind you, I told y'all beginning of 2026, I said this year is going to be the year about me, self discovery, and self love. I told y'all that. And for the first 3.5 months, 2.5 months, I'm sorry, halfway through March, for the first 2.5 months of the year, I did not do that. So something bad and something dark happened because I said I wanted to do that. And I had to prove to myself that I was incapable of doing it. What kind of sick self sabotaging behavior is that? And then I found myself in a very dark situation because of it. Completely avoidable. Completely avoidable. So it gets to a point where we have to stand up and take accountability for our own selves, our own healing. And we have to sit down with ourselves and we have to understand that everything is not going to get taught to you from the time that you are born. Sometimes you have to live this life thing. You have to feel the emotions, the good ones, the bad ones, the rough ones, the ones you don't want to feel. But don't sit around and try to put all your focus on fixing other people or hiding behind other people and their problems when yours are right there with you. When you go to sleep at night, that's what you have to think about before you go to bed. When you wake up in the morning, that's what you have to think about when you wake up. Why? Why keep on holding on to it when you could work on it? Now, how? I'm working on that part. It's the first time in my entire life where I've been like, I don't know. Because I feel like there's this imaginary or invisible pressure that I should know. When I was younger, my mom used to tell me, Fantasia, you don't know the answer to everything. I used to get so mad because I used to be like, I don't know the answer to everything, but here I am doing this, and this. But she was so right. I don't know the answer to anything. Nothing. I don't know. I don't know how to fix it. I can identify what's going on, but like, then what? Because like what I've been doing lately has not been working. I've been identifying the problem, and it's low-key been making me a little bit depressed. I was wondering what was wrong with me yesterday because I slept the whole day away. I was like, I'm getting sick, or I was just a little slightly depressed because all this stuff has been running through my mind for the past week, that I have to make some changes, some lifestyle changes, some big lifestyle changes, some powerful lifestyle changes. Since I'm just telling y'all all my business, I was supposed to hang out with a guy yesterday. And what was it? Friday night, mind y'all, I'm celibate. He had basically made a vulgar, slick comment, and I hung up the phone immediately. And he was like, "Oh, why did you hang up? You know, I was just joking." But every joke has a little bit of truth to it, right? So yesterday I got up, I went and got my glasses, got my eyebrows done. I came home and I had about 2 hours before I was supposed to go hang out with him. I was going to wash my hair and, get dressed. And I thought about it, and I thought about how I'm going to wash my hair, I'm going to get dressed, going to pay for a lift to go to his house, to sit in his house and see him treat me like he can't stand for me to be around him, even though we play this song and dance game where he begs me to come hang out with him, and then I go hang out with him, and then he acts like he didn't beg me to come hang out with him. Why would I do that? Why would I go pay money to be treated like crap? So, you know what I did? I sat in my bed. Yes, I did. This bed right here. I sat right in her, and I should have never moved that because now the camera's messing up. Ah. Hold on. We're having technical difficulties. There we go. I sat right in her, played Sims 4 till I got tired. And I went to sleep. I slept, woke up, got some Wendy's. My sister put me on the One Tree Hill. Phenomenal show. Gonna be watching it after I get done with my Sunday reset. And do y'all think he texted me? Do y'all think he called me? Do y'all think he even cares that I didn't show up? No. Right. So it's stuff like that. Like, it's what I'm talking about. Further perpetuating the idea that no man treats me properly and no man actually cares about me. I don't have to put myself in positions like that. I don't have to continue to put myself in a position where I'm getting treated like crap. So, yeah, my mom is calling me. So, hold on. All right, y'all. Sorry. I have to go run an errand. But yeah, y'all. So I literally just spent the past 45 minutes exposing myself, and that's fine. If me exposing myself helps anybody or brings anybody any type of clarity, understanding, and feeling like they're not alone. Sorry, I just ran up the stairs. That's a win in my book. Like I said, I don't have the answers. I mean, y'all see me trying. Guess I'm a runner now. Okay. Actually, I used to be a runner when I was younger, but I messed up my ankle when I was in the 10th grade, and I never really ran ever again after that. So, but I used to be really fast. So I guess that's what that's about. Anyways, yeah, so y'all will see that. A lot of getting my life on track, a lot of trying different things, different methods. The number one thing, though, that has 100% been very much working, that I will always recommend, building a close relationship with God. God has seen me through my darkest moments and has shown me a light every time. Finding a church that's actually about what they say they're about, that's about love, peace, and light, I could not recommend that enough. I'm also still looking for a therapist. I know that's a very taboo thing to talk about still in the Black community, but hey, I am a really big advocate for therapy, and I stand for a lot of what therapy stands for. I think if you find a really good therapist, I think that your life can be changed. I think that you should have Jesus and therapy. That's just me, though. Hey, to each his own. But I know that there's a lot that has been instilled in me since I was young. A lot of childhood hurt, wounds, trauma, a lot of generational hurt, wounds, and trauma that the Lord 100% is going to free me from and has freed me from. But there's a lot of things that a professional, I think, can provide me with better tools for in order to navigate, like the whole emotional regulation and intelligence thing. Because for the longest time, I sought out outside sources to help me to regulate or not even feel them at all. And that's just counterintuitive. So, yeah. Like I said, y'all, I don't know. I don't have the answer. And for the first time in my life, I never felt freer to know that I don't have to be the mature one. Yeah, I deal with some pretty heavy shit. Yeah, this is my first time cussing the whole podcast. I'm really proud of myself. I deal with some pretty heavy stuff on a day to day. Wouldn't wish this on nobody, but I handle it like a champ. And yet, and still, I don't know everything. I don't have the answer. I just know that if it can get bad, it can get good and it can get better. Thank you. So thank y'all so much for listening to this. You listen, I yap. Like I said, this is what I thought the podcast was always going to be. So I'm glad that this season 2 is really shaping into like what I wanted it to be. I love y'all. Thank y'all for listening. Y'all know this is not really going to be edited, right? Right. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me get a thumbnail if I haven't already. That's cute. And I will see y'all in the next video. And also, thank y'all for 88 subscribers. Y'all were 12 away from 100. Big 100. And if 100 people was in a room listening to me talk, watching me do my day-to-day, I would shit my pants. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right, babes. Bye. Wouldn't it be a shame if y'all couldn't hear me this whole podcast?